and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today I'm here in Discord, my Discord server to be exact. By the way, you can join this Discord by following the link in the description, I'm just saying. But I'm here on Discord because I am going to be reviewing some Ponytown homes and islands and stuff like that. But I won't be joined alone, I will be joined by my dear friend, Luka Mynt. Luka, why don't you go ahead and say a thing or two?
Hello, how do you do?
Howdy do indeed. That is Luka. She makes music and stuff like that. She's pretty good. I will leave a link to her SoundCloud in the description, as well as, you know, the usual links and stuff like that. But today we'll be reviewing homes and stuff like that, and islands and stuff like that in Ponytown. And instead of going to Reddit and stuff like that, we're going to use my Discord server. I asked in announcements for people to send them under spoilers so that I could see them for the first time for this video. And we got quite a few here. I don't know if I'm going to go through all of them, but I do hope that we can go through quite a few and critique them and kind of give our general thoughts and everything. So let's go ahead and start with this first one. This first one is by Woodshoe on my Discord server. Luka, why don't you go ahead and tell me what you think of this right off the bat? What's your first impressions of this one?
It looks pretty alright. It's not very much lighting, but that's okay. Little bit bare on the bottom. I like the top. It kind of looks like a living room and a little bit, but yeah, it's not too bad.
I don't think it's too bad either. There is quite a few problems that jump out to me immediately. Again, like the lighting issue, like you said. But there's a lot of things that bother me just because of my OCD alone. But if you look at this fireplace, it's not centered at all. It's not centered at all, and that completely bothers me just for that fact alone. Not a huge issue, but it just bothers me because of OCD and stuff like that. Another thing that bothers me right off the bat is the fact that they have the toolbox in there. And I say this every single time I see someone with a toolbox in their party house or their island or whatever else. You can remove it if you type /remove toolbox. Or you can go to the settings icon in the building UI now and remove it that way. So it's not hard to remove it, but no one ever removes it. And that bothers me so much. But yeah, like you said, kind of bare down here in this bottom room. I imagine that's meant to be some kind of bedroom, but it's very small and there's nothing in there. I imagine throwing a couple tables or something like that would fix that. The benches feel like out of place in a way, because it's like, why are there benches inside?
Guessing they're supposed to be like couches and whatever, but
oh yeah, probably
just nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Overall, to me, it feels a little bit bare. It could definitely use more spicing up.
Yeah.
This next one is also by Woodshoe. It's an island.
It's an island.
Yeah, immediate impressions. Go.
Honestly, I don't mind it as much as some of the stuff we just looked at. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of islands that they don't really seem to have any real importance. I guess they're just kind of supposed to be off the side because they're like, oh, well, this is the actual main island. This is just going to be decoration for when you're walking by, but it would be nice to have something. So it'd be like, at least you could go onto the island and have a couple things on there.
Yeah.
Rather than just being an island with trees and rocks around them.
Yeah, and I think these islands on the side look really nice, but yeah, like you said, throw something on there. Throw like a little bit of a blanket on there with maybe a little bit of a picnic type thing, or maybe throw on like a little tombstone or something like that. Maybe make like something like that. Just a tiny little detail would have been better than just trees.
There's also that bench on the very bottom island. It's just kind of facing towards the water. That's kind of weird. I don't know. It just seems a little bit weird.
It's a weird bench placement, but if you actually look right behind it, there's also weird rock placement there as well. I'm not sure why these rocks are kind of clustered up right there. That looks a bit odd to me.
I would have used some water rocks in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put rocks at all on that island, actually. If I was going to use rocks, I probably would use water rocks. That way they were smaller, but to me, those rocks there just feel out of place. Like, even if you kind of made it look better, it just feels kind of out of place there. Because I imagine it's next to impossible to kind of walk around on that island, especially since you have not just those rocks, but you have the two lanterns next to it and then the trees all over it and stuff like that. That's a hard island to walk on. I can already tell, and that pains me.
I just realized another thing. There's another island. It's got like a bunch of... It's got like cakes and stuff. I don't know how you're supposed to go on it because there's actually like a cookie table or something in the way of your path.
Oh,
So that seems a little weird.
Yeah, that is directly in the way. That bridge needs to be removed
Yeah.
or changed, or these tables here need to be changed. Because you can't walk onto that island. I mean, you could probably walk on it and then like walk around it, but that's so awkward, and it might not work because you have the water block there and the tree there too, so you might not be able to fit there. If you're going to that island, you have to go for a swim.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that overall, I mean, it's nice, but I definitely would have changed the log slice bridges anyway, because I feel like you don't need that many to make that work.
Yeah.
Because it spaces out.
And I like to make them kind of more wavy.
Yeah.
So, because they look a little bit weird when they're just all straight in a weird line like that. Like, I like to make them a little bit just not like perfectly straight. So it's like, it kind of looks like it would be realistic-ish if it were to be, you know, log slices rather than just...
Honestly, I would have went for a different approach when it came to the bridges altogether, because I don't really like to use the log slices that much, except in like very specific situations anyway. Let's go ahead and go to this next one by Blue Skella. There's a couple things that are not lined up perfectly, and that bothers me, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting seeing, like, that there's a window in the book, or, like, inside of the bookshelf.
I literally just noticed that as soon as you started to speak, I noticed that. I was like, oh, wait.
It does seem a little bit weird, though, just for the fact that it's like, oh, there's, like, it looks like there's chopped books. Why did you chop your books? You chopped the book into 5 pieces just because they're all orange, so it's like, oh, you chopped your book into 5 pieces just to put it on top. Why?
Oh my god, I didn't even notice it, but they have a torch on the table.
Oh my gosh, they do. That's pretty crazy.
The flowers seem like a last minute idea to throw them on there, because you only have like maybe 3 different sets of flowers, and that's it. Well, 4 if you count the one up there at the top left. And they're not really doing anything. They're literally adding absolutely 0 to the entire build. They're doing nothing. They just kind of are there. I'm not crazy about the use of bushes now that I look at it again. Yeah,
the bushes are a little bit weird. I would try to change them up so it's not like, especially on the sides there, it's like, oh, it's all the same bush type. Like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't mind the flowers, actually. I think it's all right, but it's like, just with the bookshelves and with how they're clumped up, like, I would just kind of play around with bushes if you're trying to, you know, make something with them so it doesn't look all clumped up, because it can easily look very clumped if you're not careful.
My advice to fix this area up here directly above the blue skeleton is to remove these 2 bookshelves, adjust these flower bushes, and kind of tweak that into like a nice little nook kind of area or something like that. It's so weird to have a window just kind of shoved inside your bookcase. That's just weird to me. And then you have all these rose bushes kind of covering up those bookcases as well. So it's like, do you want me to read or not?
Yeah, true. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, let's move on to the island is directly underneath that. This one is also by Blue Skella. Oh wow, they actually took more than one screenshot and combined them in editing. You can tell because there's 2 Blue Skellas.
I do like the pattern on the walkways. I really like the walkways. They're pretty interesting.
All the walkways and stuff.
Yeah, there's some of the things on the outside that is like, you know, especially those 2 wooden areas. It's like weren't sure what to add, and you just was like, I'll just not add anything. But it's like it kind of feels bare in a way. Yeah, it's just like changing that a little bit, or even just making it smaller so it doesn't look so, you know, bare.
Every single one of these little islands are like almost perfectly square, and that's kind of all right and kind of fine for the 2 wooden ones because they're meant to be like homes or whatever. But typically, even homes aren't normally typically square, and these are very clearly more than just homes because there's no like bedroom or no kitchen or anything like that. Though this one down here in the bottom left kind of does seem a little bit like a kitchen or something. But yeah, I kind of have the same advice as you. Just kind of adjust the size of these two wooden areas and kind of play around with that a little bit more. I like all the pathways except the log slice one because the rose bushes look really weird since they're just floating on water. They're just kind of there on water.
Yeah.
And that looks a little bit awkward to me. It would look better if you like turned the pathway, like the pathway how you're doing it right now, turn it into a mix of dirt, sand, and grass as you go up to this instead of having it turn into log slices for no real reason. Because you had a good thing going, but then you got to this point right here, and you decided to do something different, and that's when the build started to look a little bit off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it was fine, and then you kind of played around with it in the wrong way and kind of decided to change your bridge setup. I don't know if you did that because of some kind of wall limit or something else, but I would change that. This one is pretty interesting looking, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's kind of square, but I do really like the actual little garden area in the middle. That's really nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the thing that draws me to this.
The thing that I find a little weird is the fact that there's just random walls everywhere. Like, I don't know why there's just randomly placed walls just surrounding the island, but they're not even on certain spots, so it's like, why?
I imagine the reason why is because they ran out of walls to place. But, like, why are you putting walls in the first place? Like, they make no sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And 90% of the places you have.
If you want, you could just probably, if you really wanted to have something there, you could probably just change it to, like, fences or something. That bottom area to the left, that just seems kind of weird just because of the fact that the path is so close to the actual edge. That it's just like, kind of, why is this there? It does seem, this island seems just, you know, there's not really any naturalness to the shape of the island or to the flow of it. It's just like, oh yeah, here's a path, here's this. Like, usually I try to sculpt it a little bit more roundish, make sure the paths don't have, so they just cut off to water, stuff like that. I mean, sometimes maybe you could do that, but it's like certain places it just doesn't really work very well. So
over here on that left side, kind of between the two islands with this little bridge, I guess you could call it, connecting them two. If that is meant to be a bridge, I would recommend removing a bit of grass that's right underneath the fences you have there. And I would shrink that bridge a little bit more, and I would try to center it up with the path that comes right off of it, because that looks really awkward. It just, you know, the bridge comes across, and then, like, this dark wood is just completely uncentered from it, and it just, that bothers me. I hate when I see very uncentered things on builds and stuff. The main thing here is this little center garden area. You have this tree here that looks really nice. I would replace this rock right here that's next to that center tree and with a water rock. That way it actually has water physics or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really wouldn't change much at all about, you know, this center garden area. I almost wouldn't even remove these walls in this center garden area. But I would remove the walls around the whole island, because why are they there?
I also just realized there's another rock that's also not a water rock that's...
Oh, yeah, I see it right above the bridge. Yeah, right above that bridge. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this one, though. It needs a little bit of work, probably a lot of work, but I think it looks pretty nice. What do you think of this one?
Clutter.
My thoughts exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that bottom left room? It's totally closed off too. Why is there random picnic carpets everywhere? There's like, you know, picnic blankets just literally everywhere. There's tables that, you know, they kind of look weird just because of the fact that you have the two ones on the side, and it's just like, it kind of looks a little bit off. I mean, you might be able to make it work, but it's just because of the fact that it's just kind of tucked in there, and you don't really see that bottom one as well, so it just looks like, oh yeah, there's two large tables and one small table up top, so that looks a little bit weird.
Yeah.
That chair over by that picnic blanket, yeah, that's cut off. The bottom of that is cut off.
Yeah, yeah, that was the first thing I saw.
Yeah, definitely fix those layering issues. Honestly, don't know what's with that random, just at the front of the house. I mean, it's fine kind of everywhere else. I I think it doesn't look that bad, but at the front of the house it's like it's a single blanket, it's off centered, and it just doesn't look right. So
What I think they were going
yeah.
for with this tile here, the one you're talking about at the entrance, is sort of like a welcome rug, but there's horizontal ones too. You didn't have to use a vertical
Yeah.
one. You could have just used the other one, and it would have fit on there. It would actually probably would have been the perfect size. And
Yeah.
so that's all you had to do to fix that. To fix this table thing that you were mentioning earlier, you could just remove this fireplace because this fireplace isn't doing much at all anyway, and you would probably see more of that table. But in my opinion, if you wanted to fix this table issue completely, you would completely knock out this wall and maybe move down all the tables down to the center of this right side here and turn this little area into your kitchen. And then completely remove this bottom left corner because it's literally just random junk that does nothing. Like, there's no reason for it to be there other than for you to grab, like, maybe different items and stuff like that. And you could use them in a much more interesting way. I think what this person was thinking is like, oh, what if players want this item or this item? And they couldn't think of a way to incorporate it with the build, so they just kind of tucked all of it in the bottom left. And then it got really cluttered, so they decided to where they would just close it off so no players could go there. I don't know if that is the case, but that's just what it looks like. You could have incorporated them in totally different ways if you would have, played around with the build better or differently. Why is there ropes on the wall in the top left room?
Yeah. I don't know
There's
why
a lot
you'd have your.
so
Well, I
many
got my bed and I got my
ropes.
thing with ropes on the wall right next to my bed. Because why not?
Oh god, there's so many things in this build right here that just makes me go, why? Why?
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of
Why do you have?
I kind of get what they were doing
Yeah,
with the blankets, because I feel like these checker blankets, I imagine they were trying to be like, oh, carpet, like decorated carpet. Just use the carpet tiles if you're going to do that, because it will save on item usage. It may take a little bit longer, but it's definitely going to look better because you're not going to have any type of layering issue ever at any point. And you have all of these colors at your disposal with the shovel tool if you use the carpets instead. So it's like there's better ways to do most of what they're doing. And then and I just realized this too, and I don't know why I didn't realize it before, but in the bottom right there's a full-on picnic. Like with a picnic basket and everything like that. Why do you need that inside your house?
Yeah.
You don't need that inside your house.
Yeah.
You have a kitchen directly above that. There's no reason to have a picnic indoors. That makes no sense. Remove that completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can remove that. You can put down some more of these things like these lantern box or the barrel of baskets or whatever like that. That way you have a place to put those instead of shoving them all in the corner.
I find it kind of weird with the fact that also the bed the only way you can get out of the bed is by going down, like crawling, down the bed. And just with that, and especially with the fact that there's carpet there and there's all those plants, it just looks so cluttered in that area. And then it just goes to like a lot more open of a space. And it's like, it just is really weird.
It is. It's very weird. Again, like I said, I see this build, and every single time I look at it, I see something new, and I'm just like, why?
Okay, first thing I spotted, the little thing in the middle, which I'm not sure what that's supposed to necessarily be. It looks like a sword or something with I don't know. It looks like something, but it's off-centered, and that's kind of weird to me. I mean, you could maybe make a way to do it, that it could work, but I don't think that's the way. And
the only way you can go to center that, the only way you can center that right now is if you actually move this wall over here on the top left over one block or whatever, one tile or whatever you want to call it, because you have two tiles on the right and one tile on the left. So you need another tile on the right to even, or another tile on the left to even that out. You could also, you could remove the one on the right and, do it that way instead, but it feels like this top left one it needs to be removed instead because you have this table on the top right one, which will cause issues if you move that over. So to fix that, that's what I would do.
Roses are also peeking through the actual walls, which is kind of weird. Yeah, the random cushions on the bottom left, that seems a little bit odd. And again, random log slice.
Where is the random log slice this time?
The bottom middle.
Oh, yeah, that... Why? There's 2 more in the room
They're
right next to it,
also
actually.
And those
That you can, like,
carpets bother me, or not the carpets,
the little blanket.
blanket. Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing about these blankets that bothers me is the fact that it's kind of overlaying the bed. That bothers me more than the fact that they're there. Like, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever. It would probably still be a kind of bad, at least to me specifically. But
yeah,
it's just overlaying it. Move it down a little bit.
Yeah, random clovers on the ground as well. It's just like, where are they growing from? Where are they coming from?
I guess they're coming from the top left, which is just a mess. Like, again, I don't know. This seems to be a recurring theme. I've seen this a couple times just in the builds that we looked at today. When people do, nature type stuff, what they seem to do is they just grab random things from the nature category and just spam it all in one spot. And be like, oh, nature.
There's a way you can kind of make it so it looks a little bit, crazy, because nature's not going to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be super neat, but you can make it look a little bit crazy, yet still keep it,
uncluttered.
Actually looking
unspammy.
Not cluttered, exactly.
You have a water rock there that's not on water. It's not on water enough, let me put it that way. Again, in the top left.
Yeah.
It's there, it's just not, you gotta nudge it over to the left a little bit. That is a water rock, yeah.
Is that okay? It seems a little bit weird just because of the fact that it's a different color. It changes the shade, so I'm like, is that a water rock or no?
There's this random coconut there. There's not a single palm tree, so that just feels completely random. You have another nature type thing down here at the bottom with just sand, and I find that room awkward because if we're meant to believe that this is like a house, why is there just why is it just in the middle of the house? I'm not gonna say it looks bad, because that room kind of looks all right. You have a couple of issues like the sandcastles on top of clams or shells or whatever, but it kind of looks nice. I actually kind of like the presents kind of tucked away inside the rose bushes. That could be really good if you're doing a holiday type thing and you wanted presents around the map and stuff like that. That would be kind of neat. And see, this another thing too is that I've noticed just by looking at the builds today and everything else. Because we had the beach update and because we had the update that gave us, the ability to use beach items, everyone started incorporating it in their builds, even though they didn't always work.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how a lot of people are. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, try to incorporate this new thing into my build, or, oh, I like this item, I'm gonna put it in my build, but it doesn't work. You need, if you want to make a build with it, you got to make the build specifically, for it. You got to make it so it actually would work. If you don't, then it's going to be weird.
You can't just put it in there for the sake of putting it in there. I get that it's a new item and it's exciting or whatever like that. Everyone has 3 house slots. Everyone has 3, island slots, whatever you want to call them. You can't save 3 islands and 3 homes. You can only save 3 of a combination of them. But the fact that you have 3 slots means that, hey, this update came out. Maybe look at a slot that you haven't used or a slot that you just don't use like at all. Change it and just completely remake it and just make it with this beach theme. Don't necessarily make a beach house or something like that, but use some of the new things in it or something. Instead of just taking what you already have and kind of just shoving in things in there. Because I don't know what it is, but like it seems like almost every build we've looked at today had a very, very unnecessary blanket, at least in one spot somewhere. And it's like, why? Yeah. You don't need it. Like, it's not, you don't need it for that. Like, I get, like, you can make it look good in certain places. I think it looks kind of all right underneath this table in the kitchen. I think it looks all right kind of in front of this table on the right. But you gotta keep in mind that, like, you can't just incorporate it because it's new. You gotta incorporate it in a sense that it's gonna look good, or in a sense that, it's gonna make sense. Like, again, there's just a random beach in the middle of this house. Why? You had the outdoor in the top left, which made me kind of believe that, oh, that's actually the entrance, in terms of like RP or whatever. You can say that's the entrance since that's the outside. Or maybe you can say that's the backyard. Put the beach there instead. It would make more sense. It would make more sense because, it's outdoor, and that would be fine, even though this is all technically indoors. That would make sense because obviously that's meant to be outside. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything? Any advice? Anything at all?
Okay, my advice is pretty simple. It's kind of something you've already said, but just don't try to make certain objects that is like, oh yeah, this is cool or this is new. I'm gonna incorporate in, or I'm gonna just put it in my build because why not? Or just don't, like you can try out new things, but I think it's kind of that they're like, oh yeah, I'll try this out, and then they try it out. It doesn't work, but then they continue to use it because they're like, I still want to have it in my build because it's something that is cool, I guess. I don't know, and no one else is doing it. But you gotta understand that you gotta actually make it like look good if you're going to use it, or else it's just like it's just ruining your perfectly good build, and that's never a good thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can conclude the video there. I might have to, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna have to cut out a lot of the homes because we're at 50 minutes here. But if I skipped your home, I'm very sorry. If I cut it out, I'm very sorry. Again, that is gonna do it for the video. I do hope that you learned something here. I do hope that, you enjoyed looking at these builds with me and Luka. I do hope that you could take something away from this video overall, and I do definitely hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, however, I do hope that you like, subscribe, and share, and do all of those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this. But that's not all you get. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.